All right, sir. Now sir, please,
Yeah.
sir.
Please tell everyone to mute their mic so that disturbance doesn't come. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
so good evening to everyone, and I welcome you to this talk about cyber crime and the security of cyber crime, that is cyber security. We are going to be together for some time, and we are going to talk about this important issue. And I'd like to tell you one more thing. I have done my engineering from Tamil Nadu, from Trichy. So I am long back, of course, 30 years back, but I'm a graduate of NIT Trichy, and I have stayed in the great state of Tamil Nadu for 4 years, and I feel it is my second home. I really, and Ganesh, who's here in charge of, who runs this academy, he happens to be the brother of one of my batchmates who studied with me, Shanmuga Sundaram. He's, I think, younger brother. So he's also like my family because I belong to, I have spent very good years in Tamil Nadu, and I love that state more, as good as my own home state where I live. Anyway, so vanakkam, and I hope all of you are fine. If nalla irke, then I will start. Okay, so we are going to talk about a very important topic. At any point, if you do not hear me or do not understand me, please stop me and tell me if there's a problem. Otherwise, I will speak because I cannot see anyone. I can only see myself and other icons. So we are going to talk about cyber security. Let us start. I am a police officer, as told by Ganesh, that I have worked in 5 continents as a police officer. I have not gone there to roam about, neither have I gone there for training and all that. I have worked in 5 continents as a police officer in Africa, in Europe, in North America, in Central Asia, and South Asia, where we live, that is India. So I have worked in all these continents and these countries. And after working all over the world as a police officer and seeing the security situation all over the world, I can tell you one thing. And that thing is that if you have to choose one or two of the top threats to public security in the world, if you have to choose one or two, one of them will be cybersecurity. It is that big a problem. Cybersecurity is one of the biggest threats to public security in today's age and in the time to come. But we do not realize it. We feel there is nothing happening in the real world. Everything we take according to real world. So we think that nothing is, so what? There is nobody being killed. There is nothing, in the real world. So somebody loses some money, somebody is bullied, somebody is stalked. So we feel it's okay. We don't know what's happening. It's okay because nothing happens in the real world, right? So we take it very lightly, but do not take it very lightly. It is a very serious problem. It is one of the major threats to cyber, to the public security. And according to me, my experience tells me that cyber. Please do not put on your mics because there's a lot of disturbance. Then I'll have to tell whose mic is on. Uh, please. So I will like to tell you this. It's one of the biggest threats to public security, and the key to cyber security is only one. That is awareness. Whose awareness? More secure you will become in the cyberspace. There is no other better key to cybersecurity than awareness. So it is time we become aware. It is time we start thinking, talking, doing, and we start talking and doing now. So let us start. It is a time when you can learn, when we can understand, and we can do. Okay. So listen carefully. It is something which is of your benefit, and it will help you in the time to come. Right. Now I'll go. I will. The way I'm going to present is, first I'm going to tell you some important challenges. Why cybersecurity is such a big challenge. Then I'm going to tell you some concepts, and then I'm going to talk about some crime which is being done on students and on young people like you. So let us first start with the challenge. Why is it such a big challenge? See, uh, and I am going to speak to you as a police officer. Correct? I'm a police officer with 29 years experience. I have worked in variety of fields. I worked in, because it's been my interest, not that I was posted in these fields. I worked a lot in narcotics enforcement, in wildlife conservation, in women protection, in suicide prevention, in you name it, traffic awareness and improvement, whatever. Field policing, community policing, international policing, training. I've worked in many fields. But cybersecurity continues to be my passion and mission. I worked in it for 10 years now, and it is, I was never posted in cyber cells, cyber crime, and all that. It is my passion, my mission. That's why I'm doing it. I want to spread the awareness word to largest number of people. That's why I'm here with you today. Okay. So I would like to say this, that as a police officer, I'm going to speak to you. I do not pretend to be a very big cyber computer wizard, a computer expert. Neither do I say that I'm some software expert. Neither do I claim to be some gadget guru or something like that. I am only a police officer. As a result, I will talk to you as a police officer. So what I'm going to say are things of common sense. I believe as a police officer, I've seen security, I've seen crime. When you have to protect yourself from crime, no? When you have to do good policing, you only need one sense, and that sense is common sense. It's only for also for citizens. If you have to protect yourself from crime, you have to use your common sense. But I have seen so many crises, so much emergency. I can tell you another thing, that first sense which deserts a person when a crisis or danger comes, it is common sense. First, unfortunately. So it becomes very uncommon when danger comes. Anyway, but I'm going to tell you
Unmuted.
common sense. So you may some know what I'm going to say today. Some of what I'm going to say today, you may know. You may also know all of what I'm going to say today, maybe. But even if you know everything that I say today, or even if you know something I'm going to say today, I would request you just listen once more. Because if you listen to something again and again, it becomes part of your system. And that is what I want. See, when a threat comes, when a crisis comes, when a danger comes, any emergency situation, maybe a natural calamity, maybe an accident, maybe a crime situation, one thing is very important. Remember always your response to the situation. If your response to the situation is immediate, is automatic, then you will be able to save yourself from situation in best manner. Suppose somebody is standing in front of you with a knife. Are you going to start thinking what you're going to do? If you start thinking, it's going to be too late. If you're going to start doing something, then maybe you will be secure and safe. So you have to have automatic immediate response in okay. And when is your response automatic and immediate? When it is part of your system. You don't have to think, you just respond. So that is what I want today, that even if you know what I'm going to say, even if you know some or all of it, listen again, make it part of your system, and give an automatic response, even in a cyber crime situation, because that is also an emergency. And people are not doing it. They don't know how to respond. That response is not automatic, and that is where the problem is. So please listen carefully. Even if you know, listen again, make it part of your system and give it an automatic response next time you face a cyber crime threat situation. Okay. Now, having said that, I will quickly tell you why is it that I was saying it is one of the biggest challenges to public security. I will tell you from my experience, please. I have not read this anywhere in somebody's writing, some American author's research. No. What I'm talking is my experience of 10 years and my research, my publication, because I write, I do research, I do publication, I do column writing, many things. My experience I'm sharing, please. Okay. So according to me, it is such a big challenge to public security. Why? Because it is a different crime. Crime like this, I have seen crime all over the world. I have dealt with crime all over the world. And after seeing and dealing with all types of crime in all parts of the world, I can tell you one thing, cyber crime is different from any crime ever which happened anywhere in the world. That is why it is such a big challenge. The police, that is the security forces, is not in a position to actually understand how best system to put in to secure the people. At the same time, the people themselves are in a problem to think, to know how to do, what to do so that they become secure in cyberspace. Because it's different. That is why it is a challenge, and that is why it's such a big threat. Now, why is it different? You can ask me. Why are you saying it is different? I will tell you. It is different because, listen carefully, it is not a crime of the real world, this world in which we live, real world, actual world, or whatever. It is not a crime of the real world. It is a crime of a different world. It is a crime of this world, virtual world, digital world, cyber world, device-based world. It is a crime of another world. And please, if you ever think that this is not a world, this is just an activity. I'm just making a phone call. So what? It's an activity. Yes, it's an activity. I'm just chatting on WhatsApp. So what? I'm just doing an activity. Yes, you're doing an activity, of course, when you're phoning, when you're chatting. But while you're doing that activity, you're using a device. And through the device, while doing that activity, you are connecting to a world. And that is also a world. Please do not make a mistake. Like in the real world, in the world we live, there are so many dangers, challenges, problems, crime, criminal. Are there not? There are so many. They are also there in this world, because this is also a world. Never think it is not. As many challenges, difficulties, problems, crime, criminal, they are all there, maybe more. And the worst is you can't even see them. Can you see any danger here? You can't till it is too late. Till you have become victim of a crime. Then you realize, oh my God, what has happened? Because you never saw the danger. You never saw the threat. And you never felt there was a threat and a danger. You thought it was an activity. But no, it's a world full of challenges, dangers, and crime and criminal. You can't even see them. That's why it is so different crime. That is why it is such a big challenge. In the virtual world, nobody is going to come with a revolver and shoot you dead. But you can still lose your life. You've heard about Blue Whale Challenge and all that, haven't you? In the virtual world, nobody's going to come with a knife and rob you, but still you will get robbed worse and you will not even know. So please, it is a different world. It is full of challenges and crime and criminals also like the real world, and you can't even see them. But still you can ask me, okay, all these things we agree, but tell me still, why is it such a big threat? I will tell you in one word again. All these things become such a big threat because we are human beings. We are humans, all of us. So we are born in the real world and we are born for the real world. Listen to the concept carefully. We are born in the real world. We are born for the real world. What do I mean? I mean, when we have to live in the real world, and that's where we are born and we live, all our instincts, our attitudes, our behaviors, our actions, our reactions are all tailored for the real world. They are not made for this world. And that is where the major problem is. I will give you an example. We are all humans. All of us will have this instinct. You can't help it. You're human. You will be like this. What is that instinct? That instinct says what you see is what you believe. Because you have seen it, you believe it. Because you have heard it with your own ears, you will believe it. So based on what you see or what you hear, then you make an opinion. Then you take action or reaction, attitude, behavior. Everything comes out of what you see and what you hear, because you have seen it yourself and heard it yourself. This is the real world. Now, in the virtual world, if you start putting this instinct, which you will because you're human, your first instinct will be to do this. In this world, whatever you see or whatever you hear, is it always truth? Maybe not. Because in this world, you can be shown anything, you can be made to hear anything. And if you start believing whatever you see and whatever you hear, then sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake. But you're a human, you will do it as an instinct. You tell me any cyber crime which has happened with anyone you know, that this crime happened with this person. I will take you back in point of time when that person believed what he saw, or rather believed what he was shown, and believed what he was made to hear, and then did something and became victim of crime. That is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. You must realize it is a different world. It is a different crime of a different world. And it is full of dangers and challenges, that world, and crime criminals. You can't even see them. And the thing is, you have to change your mindset. If you don't change your mindset, if you keep on behaving as you behave in the real world, in the virtual world, because you're human, you keep on having the same instincts and the same action reactions, you are going to make a mistake sooner or later. Change your mindset. That is very important. Otherwise, you're going to make a mistake, and do it from today. It is not the real world. Okay? Don't put the instincts and the behaviors of real world in the virtual world. You're sooner or later you're going to get into trouble. Okay? Now I'll go to the last point before I start my presentation. The last point is, who is responsible for your security in the real world and the virtual world? Let us talk about that for 1 minute, then we'll go ahead. In the real world, who's responsible for your security? In this world in which we live, you yourself are responsible, are you not? The whole day we do things to make ourselves secure without even thinking. And we do things because it is part of our system. Nobody has to tell us. When you go out of the house, you lock the door. Does anybody tell you lock? No.
Muted.
Secure. Governments take out policies to make us all secure. So many people are working, including you, to ensure security in the real world. So many people, so many systems. But do you think crime is over? So many people and so many systems are there in place to safeguard us. You yourself are doing all things from morning to evening. Still crime is over? It is not. Still all types of crime occur in spite of your mind best efforts. This is the real world. Now let us talk about the virtual world. Who is responsible for your security in the virtual world? Or who can make effort to secure you in the virtual world? I always say cybercrime is a crime between a person and his device. A crime between you and your device is cybercrime. Who's between you and your device? Is there? Just think about for a minute. Examples to make it clear. Facebook. You also do it. I also probably do it. Anybody can make an account on Facebook. If I become a 16-year-old girl and make an account, can anyone stop me? No. Is there any application? As of today, no. A 16-year-old girl, I make an account, I send you a friend request. What do you see in the screen in front of you? A 16-year-old girl profile. So you will believe it because you're human, instinct to believe. So by mistake, because you believe what you see, you press the I accept button. But I want to say this. I don't come there to threaten you or to force you to press. You do it yourself. Another offense is there. It is called debit card, credit card fraud. Somebody will receive a phone call and convince him, try to take him in his web. That's phishing also, and tries to take personal information. That some people give that information by mistake again, not purposely, but by mistake. But who gives that information? That victim himself or herself, right? Another example, suppose I want to control your device. I have to send a virus to install a virus in your device, then I will control it. Suppose I send you a file which says this is a virus, download it. Will you download it? No, you will not. So I will send you something which you will download. And along with it, you will download my virus. You won't even know. But what I want to say is who presses that download button? The victim himself or herself. So if you are only giving wrong information on the phone to the wrong person, you yourself are downloading from the device in the device. You yourself are accepting a wrong friend request. Then who can save you? I told you it's a crime between you and your device. Is there a one person in the world who can sit with everybody who's using the virtual world 24/7? Tell that person, don't do this, don't talk to strangers, don't accept friend requests from unknown people, don't download files from unknown source. Is there one person? So many people who can sit with these so many people? There is not. Is there any system which can come between you and your device and prevent you from doing this? So today, no, there is no system. And when there is no person who can save you in the virtual world, in the cyber world, then who can save you? Very nice. You can save yourself only. That's why I said you cyber is aware. Nobody can secure you in the virtual as you can secure help which you can get. You can get support, but that support is also as effective as the person who's using this. You can save yourself best in the virtual world. Nobody, but like in the real world, so many people and so many systems. Virtual world, nobody yourself. So when will you save yourself? Obviously, when you know about it. Okay, so knowledge, information, very important. That you may have. I told you, they are all common sense things. So you may already be knowing it. But even if you don't know, come to know today. So knowing is very important. But then knowing and doing, that is even more important. We know, but we don't do. This awareness is not only knowing. That is only information. That is only knowledge. After knowing it, you do something about it. That is awareness. Okay. So today you will know if you don't know. If you know, you will know again. Make it part of your response. It's a different world. Please understand, it has as many crime criminals as the real world. You can't even see them, and you have to change your mindset. And once you have done all that, once you know everything, then you do everything. And this gap is always there. You know, I am a police officer. I've seen it. Wearing a helmet is good for your own health, security, isn't it? But many people still don't wear it. Everyone knows it, but they don't do it. it is in this gap that most of the crime and most of the accidents and everything occur. So please don't keep this gap. Cybersecurity threats you cannot see. So you feel it is all fun and games, but it is not. So know the problem and then do something about it, and do every time again, not sometime, every time. I always say security is a habit. It is not a choice. You cannot do it. Sometimes you go to the house, you lock it, and sometimes you go to the house, you don't lock it. You do like that? No. Every time you go, you lock. So that's what in virtual world also. You know, and you do always. Not sometime. Like suppose after my talk, I'll say many things to you. Suppose you one thing appeals to you, that from today I'm not going to accept a friend request from unknown source. Suppose you like that suggestion. Then if you like it and you implement it, then you will do it every time, not sometime. So please, the key to cybersecurity is awareness. Please know the concepts, then do something about it, and do something about it every time. So with this, I will start my presentation. Just give me 2 minutes to put it on screen, and then we will talk further. This is your screen. Can you give me my screen? Yeah, 1 minute.
Just share the screen, sir.
Yeah, I can see it now, right?
Yes, sir.
I have to make it full screen. 1 minute. Okay, I think you can see it. So I will
Yes.
start. You can see it,
Yes.
Mr. Ganesh?
Yes, sir. I am able to see, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Right. This is my name of my initiative is Black Ribbon Initiative, and it is for cyber security. And I have been doing this for 10 years. First, I used to go to all places all over the country. Whenever I had time, I used to go take seminars, meet people face to face. I would love to come to Chennai and talk to you one day when Ganesh calls me after this lockdown is over. Another thing I'll tell you is lockdown time is worse for cybersecurity because other crime, because all of us are at home, stay at home, right? This is the slogan. So at the time of lockdown, it is even more challenging, cyber crime, because other crime, traditional crime, like, murder, attempt to murder, theft, burglary, rape, molestation, abduction, all those crimes are reducing very fast because there's no movement, there is no interaction, there's no business, trade, industry. Of course, it's unlocking now slowly, but still that crime is going down. But cyber crime is going up very fast in this time of lockdown, because I say it is a true stay-at-home crime, is cyber crime. The person who commits it can stay at home and commit it, and the person who becomes a victim can also stay at home and become a victim. You don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to meet anyone. So in this time of lockdown, it is even a bigger challenge. So let's talk. We are going to talk about it. Ganesh will call me afterwards. After lockdown, I love to come. Chennai is like, I would love to come back. I've gone there many times. So let's talk about this initiative of mine, Black Ribbon Initiative, I call it. Now we are in this Sampark, which is webinar based. Earlier it was seminar based. We are going to talk about cybercrime protection during lockdown. Let's start. Now, what is the use of cyberspace? I will talk to you first about this. What is cyberspace? What is the digital world, virtual world, cyber world? If I ask you the definition, you may not be able to give it to me, because it may be something very wrong. You may not know it, even I don't know it. So let us not get into how we are going to, what is the definition. We will say what we do in it. Once we have decided what we have do, what is the use of cyber world, then taken together, that will be the virtual world. Okay. So according to me, there are five main uses of the cyber world. Five main uses. Small, there are many, but if you group them, there will be five. Let us start with the first. Once you understand what the world is, then you can understand the security of this world. First use of this world is information. Information is the biggest use of the cyber world. Correct? Information, source of information, which is the age we are living in today. Today we are living in the age which is called the information age. All of us are living in that age. There was information revolution in the 80s, in the 90s, and early 2000. Now that revolution is over. We are all living in an age which is called the information age. So in that age, with the name is information age, the biggest thing is information in today's age. More you keep, I would recommend to all of you, keep information and then use information smartly. You will be the most successful, you will be the most secure, you will be the most happy. Everything comes with information. Today's world, information is the biggest thing. So for me, for you, everyone, I'm here with you and talking about cybersecurity, not because I'm a very senior police officer and I can come here and talk rubbish and you will listen to me. No, you are listening to me because I know more in this sphere than you do. My information is more. It's good for you to listen. Suppose one of you has more information than me, I should listen. I cannot say that what will you teach me? I'm a man with so much experience. Well, I don't care. If I have that attitude, I'm making a mistake. It will harm me myself. So information is the biggest thing in today's age. There was a writer, rather he was an economist. His name, American, his name was Alvin Toffler. 40 years back, in the late 80s, early 80s and late 70s, he had written a book for which he got Nobel Prize for economics. That book's name was Future Shock. And in that book, he had coined a phrase. That phrase said, information is power. 40 years back, people must be laughing at him, I think, at that time, and saying, what is this fellow talking? Money power is there, muscle power is there, energy power is there, but information power, what is he saying? But today, what that man said has come true. Today, information is the biggest power for me, for you, for everyone. Now tell me, friends, if information is the biggest power for you and me and everyone, then what is the biggest power for a criminal of today's time, a cyber criminal? For him also, the biggest power is information. Whose information? Your information. The more he or she gets, the more easily they commit crime on you, cybercrime. So information is power even for a cyber criminal, and it is your information. And the more they get, the better attack they do on you and commit crime on you. Correct? Now tell me, who gives them this information about you, which becomes base of cybercrime on you? You yourself. Yes, you're correct. There are also other sources. I'm not saying you are the only source, but maximum information about you, which goes to the wrong hand and becomes base of cybercrime on you, is given by you. Very simple. Whole day we are leaking information about ourselves, right? Where we go, who we meet, we talk whatever we want on the phone, we share whatever we want on the WhatsApp, we put on anything on the chat. Whole day you're leaking information without even thinking. And when this reaches the wrong hands, it becomes base of cybercrime on you. I will tell you an example, just to tell you how it works. My name, Varun Kapoor. My job, Indian Police Service, right? 2 bits of information. My name, my job. Suppose it reaches a cyber criminal. Maybe just let's take an estimate, 5% chance he has of committing crime on me. Okay, with these 2 bits. Now, third bit, he comes to know my phone number. Phone number is actually a very big information in cybercrime. It becomes vehicle for cybercrime. Okay. Anyway, he comes to know or she comes to know the third bit. Now the percentage of success may become 15%. Now on top of it, he comes to know that I'm a cybersecurity expert. At least I think I am. Fourth bit, his or her success rate may become 25%. Now he comes to know my hobby is wildlife photography. Fifth information, his ability to commit crime will become even better. His percentage of success. That's how it works. But who gives that information to them? Mostly by me. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, information security is the basis of cybersecurity. You have to secure your information. Nobody is going to do it for you. I told you, nobody comes between you and your device. You leak the information, you have to secure your information. Nobody is going to do it for you. And the more you leak, the more chances are that cybercrime is committed on you. So please start from today, think and then do. Information security is the basis of cybersecurity. Start being secure today. Start securing your information. People talk many big things with me. They come and tell me, oh, these banks have so much information about us on their servers. Their server gets hacked. We are so insecure. Yes, you are insecure. Why not? Then they say that this government, they collect so much information about us. And then Aadhaar card and all. And now the latest controversy, the Arogya Setu app and everything. Suppose it gets hacked, so much insecurity for us. Yes, it is, of course. Why not? But let me tell you one thing. These organizations, government, whatever, collects information about you for a purpose. And that purpose is your benefit. They don't do it for fun. So they collect information about you and store information about you for a purpose which is your benefit. And then they put in the best security systems which are available to secure the information which they have collected about you. They will put in the best software, security softwares, the best firewalls, the best AI algorithms, whatever, to secure the information which they have collected about you for a purpose which is your benefit. Please let them do their job. They will do a good job. Don't bother about that. You please think about securing your information which you are leaking. And maximum source of crime on you is the information leaked by you. And that you don't bother. So don't talk about others. They will collect information for a purpose which is your benefit and secure it as best as they can. Still, there can be some problem. There are. If you can put 100 locks in your house, that doesn't mean it will not be burgled. It can still be burgled. But they will do the job. They will do a good job. Let them do it. You do your job, which you're not doing at all. Suppose I tell you today, close Facebook, close WhatsApp. Very good. If you follow this advice, your sources of leakage will stop, will become less. Yes, of course, it's good. But will you do it? You will not do it. So this is no security advice. So I will say this, please do it. Please do these things, but do it carefully. What you're sharing, whom you're sharing, when you're sharing, whether you should share or not share, at least start thinking. Once you start thinking, then you will start doing something about it. And when you start doing something about it, then you will become more secure. There is no doubt. So please secure your information and start from now. And another thing in this, I've written here 2 trillion searches on Google every year. I'll just give a simile. Biggest, you know the age, information age. What is the biggest power in today's age? Information. Which is the biggest source of information in today's time? Google. Then which is the biggest power in today's time? Google. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, so A is equal to C. This is a very old mathematical formula we learned when we were kids, correct? That is why all these data-based companies, rather all these information-based companies like Google, WhatsApp, and Instagram, and whatever, Facebook, they are the biggest corporations of today's times. Which is the biggest corporation in today's time? Google Alphabet, right? So all these data-based companies, this is the Chinese problem which is happening. We must have heard a lot of apps have been prevented. The same thing. All these information-based companies are the biggest corporations in today's time. They don't even produce one needle. Do they produce one needle? No, they produce nothing. They don't charge you 1 rupee. You don't pay them anything, do you? No. They don't even show you an advertisement. Some people tell me, oh, they earn from advertisement. WhatsApp shows no advertisement. You know what is the price of value of WhatsApp? Many of you must be knowing. I don't know the value today, but 4 years back when WhatsApp was bought by Facebook, its value was 19.8 billion US dollars. That is 1.5 lakh crore rupees. A company worth 1.5 lakh crores doesn't make a needle, doesn't charge you 1 rupee, and doesn't show you an ad. Then where does this money come from? Must be coming from somewhere. It's not from you. What is classical marketing model? Classical marketing model is somebody produces some company produces a goods or service and sells it. Somebody buys it. Then in that price is the cost and the profit. That is classical marketing. But this is not classical marketing. You are the main consumer and the user. You are paying nothing. But still it is billions of dollars. Somebody else must be paying that means. Why do they pay? Because they buy your information. So your information is sold by these companies and make the billions of dollars. Of course, I'm not saying they are doing a crime by selling your information. You are giving them the authority to do so. That is why they're selling. When you say, I agree. Do you ever sign a document in the real world without reading what's written on top? Never. But in the virtual world, you can keep signing and saying, I agree, I agree, I agree, without even reading the terms of service. So you give them the authority, so they sell your information and earn billions of dollars. Okay. I am also not saying that they're selling your information to criminals. They are not. But they are selling to somebody, and from there it might reach the wrong hand. And once it reaches the wrong hand, that is the criminal's hand, then it forms basis of very big crime on you, right? So what I want to tell you is your information is so expensive, so costly that people are selling it and earning billions of dollars. And your information is so dangerous that if it reaches the wrong hand, it becomes the basis of a horrendous cyber crime on you. And nobody can save your information better than you. So better start doing it today. Commerce. This is the second use of the virtual world. You know it. Online banking, online shopping, payment, transactions, transfers, bookings. So many things are done in the virtual world with this commercial activity. So this is a big use. Third use is communication. This also you can understand. Emails, phone calls, SMSs, way of communicating, contacting people, big use of the cyber world. Another one is social networking. This is another use. I'll just stop here for 2 minutes and try to explain you the difference between communication and social networking. People are not realizing and doing all sorts of mistakes and getting into trouble. See, cybercrime is double-edged weapon. What I mean to say is, in the real world where we live, if you make a mistake, then you might become victim of a crime, correct? But in the cyber world, if you make a mistake, then you may become a victim of a crime, surely, but you may also become an offender by mistake. That is a problem in virtual world. Mistake can lead you to becoming a criminal also. I will tell you why. Main reason for that is because people are not understanding the difference between communication and social networking. That's why they're doing this. See, if you don't understand the difference between communication and social networking, you are making a mistake, correct? Now, because you have already made the mistake, you don't know the difference, you do something in the cyber world, another mistake. So you make a mistake by mistake, okay? Not knowing the difference is a mistake, and on basis of that, you make a mistake. So you have basically made a mistake by mistake, okay? But let me tell you, I'm a police officer. There is no law in any world, any country, no law. And there is no law keeper in any country also in the world who will tell you that if you have made a mistake by mistake and broken the law of that country, don't worry, you didn't know, don't do it again, say sorry, go. No. If you make a mistake by mistake and break the law of the land, you have still made a mistake. So mistake by mistake is still a mistake, and you will be punished for it. So the best way is not to make the mistake. And how will you not make the mistake? Either you know the law, either you know the law of India for cybercrime. The law of India dealing with cybercrime is Information Technology Act, IT Act. You must have heard about it. IT Act is a law. Either you know what is written in that law, then you will not make a mistake by mistake. Very simple. Or you understand this difference between communication and social networking. Learning the law, knowing the law, tough job. If you can learn it, very good. Everyone should know their law. I support it. But if you cannot learn it, then please understand this difference and then follow what I'm going to say so that you don't make that mistake by mistake, which is a mistake, and get punished for it. Okay. So let me try to explain the difference between communication and social networking. There may be many differences between communication and social networking, but the main difference between communication and social networking is this, which I'm trying to tell you. Communication is with the people you know, the people you want to communicate with. Okay. The people you know and the ones you want to communicate with, whereas social networking can be with anyone on this globe who has access to internet. Maybe you may not know that person and you may not even want to give your ideas or your communication to that person, but still that person might get your communication. That is a difference. So you're not doing it with people you know and people who are like you. I'll give you an example. Suppose I say something against some person. I want to say something against some institution, some religion, some community. Suppose I say it on phone to somebody I know, or I call 10 people, sit with them and talk these things, or as SMS or an email, whatever. Then I know those people. I want to tell them these things. That's why I'm communicating with them, correct? They may be like me. They will agree. Okay, right, you're saying the right thing, fine, we agree. But suppose I post the same thing online or share the like or forward, then it might go to a person who doesn't agree with me and says, no, Mr. Kapoor, you have said this, I don't agree. He might report. If he reports and what I have said is against the law, then I will be punished. Then I cannot say, oh, I didn't know. Huh? So that is the difference. You must understand. So please do responsible social networking behavior. People are not doing. All over the world, it's a problem. Societies are being torn apart by irresponsible social networking behavior of citizens. Please do not become part of it. It is not communication, it is social networking. So you will have to see the difference and be responsible, and you're not doing it with the people you know. Okay, so communication and social networking is difference. You have told you one last thing I will tell you, then I'll go forward. I'm saying sharing, liking, and forwarding can also lead you to trouble. Why am I saying that? I will tell you now. In the Indian Act, IT Act, please listen carefully. Yeah? If you, this is for your benefit, for nobody else's benefit. I'm getting nothing out of it. So I will tell you this. Communication and social networking, there is one thing written in the Indian Information Technology Act. What does it say? The key word is transmission. Yeah, that if in the virtual world you transmit anything which is illegal, which is obscene, which is against some person, against some institution, whatever, then you are doing a crime. Anything, transmission. Now, what is transmission? Transmission is posting something, right? You write some comment, you post some video, that's uploading. So posting is transmission, yes. Hosting is also transmission. What is hosting? You make a website and you put content which is illegal, or you this kind of seminar we do and talk all illegal things. Hosting. So hosting and posting is definitely transmission. But sharing, forwarding, and liking is also transmission. Why? It is not your content, it is somebody else's content. But because you have shared it, because you have liked it, you have transmitted it further. So you become part of the crime. If the original content was a crime, you have transmitted it further and become a part of the offense. You cannot say, I have not done it, it's not mine, it is somebody else. So what? You have transmitted it further. So please be very careful when you do social networking. Firstly, by posting and hosting, definitely, and also by liking, sharing, forwarding. You cannot do illegal things which are against the law. Last is entertainment, you know it, games and movies and songs and whatever. So when you do all these things, this you do in the real world also, but when you do it with the device, you are living in the virtual world. How much time are you spending in it? I'll tell you quickly. I did a research 3 years back. 3 years old figure, must have changed a lot. But here, 3 years back, what it was, so you can understand what it may be now. 3 years back, I did a research in Indore, where I am now. How much time our school children and our college students are spending in the virtual world of one day? Research. It is not estimate. 3 years back, the figures I got was for high school students, 10th, 11th, 12th, 22% of one day's time they are spending in the virtual world. Correct? And for college students, like some of you, it is 29.8%. That means nearly 30% of one day's time college students were spending in virtual world. 3 years back. If this 30% has become 50%, I will not have any doubt. It may have. Half our lives we are spending in the virtual world. What are we doing about security? Are you understanding difference between social network and communication? Maybe not. Are you doing information security? Maybe not. Are you changing mindset? No. So start doing. It's very important. Half your life you're spending there and not doing anything about security. You can imagine what a situation can be. Cybercrime, I'll skip this. Cybercrime, basically definition is crime committed using electronic device. This is what is written in our law. So it is a crime by a electronic device. I just want to say one thing in this slide, that if you think that cybercrime is only connected with computer laptops, with mobile phones, with internet, then you are wrong. It is not only, it is also. Most of the cybercrime is occurring through these things, mobile, a computer, laptop, internet and all that, most of it, but not all of it, correct? I mean to say, any device which can be programmed can be used to do a cybercrime on you. It's an electronic function. Okay. Bhopal is the capital of my state. 1 year back, a crime was registered in the cyber cell in Bhopal, in which one dealer of Whirlpool company makes washing machines. So this fellow was doing cybercrime on his customers when he used to sell them washing machine. Why? Because washing machine is an electronic device. It can be programmed. So he was programming it in such a way and doing a crime. So please remember, today all devices we use are programmable. It may be AC, fridges, TV, cars, whatever. They all can be programmed and all can be used to commit cybercrime on you. You have to be very careful. If you only think internet, phone, mobile, computer, you're making a mistake. Most of it there, but not all of it. Now we'll talk about the crime. There are 5-6 crime I'd like to discuss, which is happening in the campuses with students, with the children. Let's talk about them. First crime, big crime, cyberbullying. One of the worst crimes, which is happening with youngsters, with everyone actually, but with youngsters definitely. Bullying itself is a very bad crime. Bullying means troubling someone, pushing someone, insulting someone, making someone look down, another child, another young man, young girl who studies with you. Why? Just to for your entertainment. I am very much against this crime. I told you, I go all over the country. I have seen it. Many people come to me with advice, asking advice. I've seen this crime with many people. Only bullying itself is very bad. It can break the child. It can break the youth. People stop, these children and young people stop eating, start sleeping, stop going out, lose confidence, become depressed, become suicidal. So many things happen just by this bullying. I'm very much against it. And I believe very strongly that even if because another child does it on the child, no big criminal comes. Another child doing it on another child. So for his own entertainment, such children should be punished. If they have to go to jail, they must go to jail, because nobody has the right to spoil somebody else's life just for his or her entertainment. And I've seen many cases like that. So itself, itself bullying is very bad crime. But when you add technology to it, it becomes cyberbullying. It becomes even worse. Why? Because of this. Because cyberbullying, it spreads faster, it has a wider audience, and it follows children home 24 hours. Okay. I used to talk to college students and school children, ask them, why is bullying so bad? Ragging? Why do you feel bad? So they used to tell me that it is because we feel insulted. Alone, you feel bad. In front of 2, 3 other people, insulting your prestige. Worse. But that is real world bullying. But when you add this technology, it becomes cyberbullying. It becomes even worse. You press one button, the whole school comes to know, college comes to know. Yeah? So it spreads faster, wider audience, that much more time of insult and feeling of shame. That is why it is so much more dangerous, and that is why it has to be controlled. And I believe the campus authorities should take very strict action against such people who do this. I'll tell you one case. There is the Indian Institute of Management, IIM, in Indore. There, one girl was there, and she was not even a child. She was a grown-up girl. She was doing post-graduation. Now that girl was a gold medalist. She was a brilliant girl, and future was very bright. Then she started being cyberbullied, and very bad bullying. Her parents were very careful, I believe. They monitored the girl's activities. I will request all teachers here, all the parents, if they are, you have to monitor your children online. We don't. Monitoring is zero. We feel our child is sitting with device in front of us. Okay, good, safe, secure, because we think in the terms of a real world, physical world. We think security, but it's not security. What the child is doing in that world, because I told you it's full of criminals and crime and problems, we don't bother. So you must monitor. Like awareness is knowing and doing. Monitoring is also not only looking and watching and seeing. Monitoring is looking, watching, seeing, and then doing something about it if you find some problem. Okay. So the parents of this girl must have been quite good on monitoring. They brought her to me. And I talked to her. I found out the problem. She was being cyberbullied. Very bad bullying, obscene, on YouTube, on so many things. She was losing all her life. Little more time, she would have been permanently damaged. Cyberbullying and bullying has permanent damage potential. If it continues for too long, it is permanent damage. The child, the boy or the girl can never be the same again. And monitoring has to be done by parents and teachers. Okay. So this girl I talked to, monitoring I did. And then she told me the truth about the bullying. We followed the footprints. Another thing I would like to tell all the students here, please, there is something called a digital footprint. In the real world, best evidence, fingerprint. Why? Because it is unique to a person, right? In the virtual world, it is digital footprint. It is unique to the user. Whoever uses a device leaves some data behind when he does any activity in the virtual world. That is your digital footprint, and that is also unique. Like a fingerprint, you can hide, you can wear gloves, you can hide a fingerprint. A fingerprint you can remove. Suppose my fingerprint is made on the table. I can take out my handkerchief and wipe it. It will be gone. So a fingerprint you can hide, you can remove, you can do so many things. You can change probably. But a digital footprint, you cannot even remove, change, and hide. Once made, it is made. You cannot do anything about it. And it is unique, as I told you, to the user and the person indirectly. So you will be caught. Whatever you do, new criminals they come up with very, very big technologies. Like they will come up with the Tor browser. Sometimes they will come up with proxy server. Sometimes they'll come darknet. They come up with new technologies to do what? Basically, they're trying to cover their digital footprints, mask them. But you take out one by one the layer, you will reach the original footprints. So you cannot change, you cannot hide, you cannot remove. So make your digital footprints as good as possible. Don't think you will not be caught. You will be. So that's why I recommend to you, if you think, oh, nothing will happen to me, nobody will know, oh, let me do this for fun. Even if you're doing it for fun, but if it's against the law, you're going to get in trouble, sir. So please make your digital footprints as good as possible. Now, this case of the girl, we followed the digital footprints, we caught the criminal. You know who it was? It was another girl. And who the girl was? It was the girl who was her best friend, who used to spend most of the time with her. She was doing this online. You can't even know who's doing it. Anyway, long story, but now everything is okay. She's settled, monitored in time, safe. But little late, she might have lost her whole future. So please, cyberbullying is a big problem and you must be very careful. That's what, these are the ways of doing it. We are not interested in the ways, we are only interested in the solutions. So this is what I recommend to all the youngsters and all the children. First of all, best response, no response. You must not respond to online bullying. Otherwise, you'll also become the same as that bully. First, best response, no response. Second, block the bully. Block means unfriend, block, break contact. Third, save the evidence. Before you block, save the evidence. Screenshot, print screen, save the video, bullying, whatever it was, you must save it because you have to use it. Then set up a new account, talk to an adult, make a report. You are all young boys and girls. You may be adults. Okay, I agree. But you are still not very mature enough to look after every aspect of your life. You must talk to an adult and then, if required, make a report and take action. But do not keep suffering it for long. This is in Hindi. I will tell you what it means because in my area, it's in somebody troubled a girl so much on WhatsApp that she said, I will eat poison. This is cyberbullying at its worst. See that word dost. Dost means friend. And in inverted commas, why? Because it is a virtual friend. That person was not known to the girl, but we believe that they're very good friends, never even seen, never even met, but the best friend. So this is cyberbullying. It should be avoided. And I've told you what to do about it. Now, next type of crime I would like to talk to you about. It's not a crime. It's a big problem. It's online gaming. Okay, friends, please listen carefully. Online gaming. See the word gaming. It is not game. It is not a sports. It is not a game. It is a business. Okay. It is not a sports. It's not games. It is gaming. That means it is a business. And when does a business do well? When people use it, play it as much, so more profit. That's why these people who run these gaming rackets will make you play more and become addicts and even worse. Okay. So this WHO, World Health Organization, in its latest finding on online gaming has said that now if you use online gaming too much, then it is even beyond addiction. It has become mental disorder, means it's a disease. So you don't want to become diseased by just doing online gaming. So please control yourself. Online gaming is not a game. It is a business. And you have to do it for fixed time. And parents and teachers have to monitor and ensure that time should be fixed, not beyond a limit, so that it becomes disease. And there are many problems to see this. What happens? Skipping school, loss of appetite, lack of sleep. One case in South Korea where a teenager, 50 hours he played continuously online game and died because he never slept. He kept on playing and playing and playing and he died also. So see, lack of sleep, lack of exercise, mental depression, suicide, violence. Another problem, I was just reading this case of Vietnam. 13-year-old grandson killed his mother because she did not give him $6 to play online game. And that online game was full of violence. So violence content is also there, which we must avoid. So please monitor your children, please monitor your youth, and all the youth here, monitor yourself. You can understand. So fix time. If you have to do gaming, fix the time. Okay. Second, fix the content. Don't play these violent, full of blood, bullets, gory games. Okay. Fix time, fix content. Next is online grooming. This is another big problem. Grooming is what? Grooming is getting ready. Grooming somebody is making somebody ready. For what? For doing something wrong. So this is very easily done in the cyber world. I have seen two characteristics in children and in young people, well, more in children, which lead them to disaster in this field. Those two characteristics, you're a child, you will have it. One is that you will be innocent. Second, children will be adventurous. Adventurous means they want to try everything. Innocent means that then they don't know what to do about it if they get into trouble. They don't understand what's happening. They are in problem. They don't know what to do. See, awareness is very good for children also. But children, awareness is not the only thing. Monitoring is very important because children know, but still do mistakes, even if they're aware, and then they don't know what to do about it. So you have to be you have to monitor your children. This online grooming is a very big problem. You know, these I will scroll down to the bottom. See, and innocent and adventurous. That's why what do these people do? First, they will do social engineering. It's another word, very important. What is social engineering? Social engineering is finding out about you, and who will tell? You will tell about you. As I told you before, everything we do, we tell about what we write, what we like, what we wear, where we go, what we eat, who are our friends, which place we visit, which hotel we stay, which car we drive. We tell everything. Once we tell everything, they will do engineering. They will find out about the child and everything. Okay, children share more. Young people share more. They will engineer. They will find out. Then what will they do? Then they will do some stalking. Find your activities online. What are you doing? Who are your friends and all that. Once that is done, then they make a profile and they make a friend with that child. Okay, the child is adventurous. He says, as many friends, very nice. We'll make friends. Now they will keep chatting, grooming, making ready. Now chatting will be there, friendship will be there. The child will never even have seen that person, but becomes so important that the child or the young person. I also have two sons. I know that person online becomes so important, more important than you, than the father and the mother, because never even met. That is grooming. Now, when they are in totally groomed, now they will tell them some secrets. The child will think there's another child I'm chatting with actually, because they will make that profile of a child after finding out about the young person. I will also study in a college in some neighboring college and all that. So they will become friends. Then they will share secrets. They will tell some false secrets, and the child and the young person will tell his actual secrets. Once the secrets are known, then they will start blackmailing. Oh, though you did this, I'm going to tell your family. I'm going to tell all your friends, whole school, whole college. Now they get trapped. Now they don't know what to do. Innocent. So they will not tell anyone because they're trapped. They think they will find a solution, but they won't, because those are criminals and they are children and young people. And they get trapped. They will not share. They will not tell their parents. They will not take guidance, and they will get more and more trapped. And that's how it works. Then they will do obscene things with these children, photographs, and then pedophilia. It is very terrible. Nobody can save your children and young people. Please, the young people who are here, who are college students, please be careful. It's not a world full of fun and games. It is very dangerous out there. You have to follow all the things I've told you. For the children, please, it is monitored by the parents and the teachers and their elders. This is a very sad case of Amanda Todd. She was a Canadian 15-year-old girl who committed suicide. Why? She was being groomed. She had been groomed by somebody, and same thing happened to her. She then had to send her obscene photographs to that man, and ultimately she committed suicide. And before she committed suicide, she posted a video online in YouTube, and she showed these kind of flashcards to tell what happened to her, what sad things happened, and how she died. And it made a lot of problem in the world, but then very sad case. Okay. This man was caught, of course. His name was Aydin Corbin. He was from Holland. In 2014, he was caught. He had done it with many other children. So now he's waiting extradition to Canada. But be careful. Online grooming is a problem. Children have to be saved by the parents. They need awareness also. They need to be talked to also, but they also need to be monitored. And young people like you, many of you who are students, please be very careful. It's not fun and it's not games, as I told you. One more thing I'd like to talk to you about is cyber stalking. Cyber stalking, big problem, but only mostly for women and girls. And you have to be very careful when you are in the virtual space. As I told you, in the real world, when somebody stalks, what is stalking? Following someone, right? So when someone stalks someone in the real world, girls and the ladies can see that person. Every day I come out of college, he's following me. Every day I come out of my house, that same guy is there and was sitting on a motorcycle and coming behind me. You can see the danger. So you do something about it. But online, you cannot see the danger. You think it is not there and you don't do anything about it. What is online? What is cyber stalking? Somebody giving you missed calls again and again. Somebody sending you friend requests. Somebody sending you again and again SMS, trying to approach you in chat rooms, sending you emails. All this, checking your profile again and again. This constitutes cyber stalking. Be very careful. It can be done by someone who's your friend and all that, who's just trying to trouble you, which is also wrong. I will tell you ahead. But it may be even a psychopath. I will tell you a case of Bangalore. There was a woman rather. She was working in the IT sector, and imagine IT sector. She was being cyber stalked. She didn't do anything about it because she never saw the danger. She thought, I don't know who it is, so she took it easy. And then it became so much that she thought that somebody's all somewhere around and doing it. So she left the job. She left the job in Bangalore, took another job in Pune, in another IT thing. And what do we young people do? When you go to some new place, when you meet some new person, when you do some good thing, when you, everything, when you do good, what do? You take a selfie and you post it online and say, I'm so happy, this new thing, that new thing. This is what she did. Just imagine, she was being cyber stalked. She was from IT sector, but still she said this, did the same thing. She put a photograph. She did not put the name of the place or the company. But I'll tell you ahead, even if you don't put the name of the place where you are, or the city, you can still be caught. But this girl did it, the posting and of this content of her photograph, and that person saw it because he was anyway cyber stalking it. Her. He reached that place one evening when she came down from the office. He was standing there. He recognized her very well. She didn't even know what he looked like. And when she was passing by, he said, "Oh, you want to run away from me? So go run. Let's see how far you can run." She then realized that it was that guy. She must have tried to run. He followed her. He stabbed her to death. But again, because she took it very light. So don't think because there is no danger in front of you, that means there is no danger. This is the case of Indore. I'll tell you again. Stabbed 38 times, the Facebook stalker woman dies. 38 times in this city where I live. This was in 2018. Her name is Supriya Jain. That guy did it in the main square of the city. 38 times he stabbed her for Facebook stalking. You should be very careful. You can't see the danger. That means the danger is not there. Don't be like that. Ostrich attitude. Don't have it. So if I want to say this, if any girl, because girls and women are more main targets of this, if any girl ever feels that she's being stalked online, please do not ignore it. Please take it seriously. It may be somebody who's just troubling you, pulling your leg, which is also wrong. But it may be somebody else. It may be a psychopath, like in these cases. So you must report and take corrective measures. Otherwise, it may be too late. For the men and boys who are here, I would like to recommend to you, please do not do it even for fun. Because it's your age, you're all youngsters, you might have the feeling, oh, let's trouble this girl, let's give her a message again and again, friend request. You might feel that. But suppose that, first of all, you will create a lot of doubt, a lot of pressure for that girl. She'll feel very scared because she won't know who's doing it, first of all. Secondly, if she reports, which she should, as I told you, we should not ignore, you should report. So if she reports, then you will be caught because the digital footprints will not let you survive, escape. Then you cannot say that I did it just for fun. Cyber stalking in Indian law, you can see this 354D, it is written in red. This is Indian Penal Code. It is 354D section says that in India, if you cyber stalk a woman, you're doing a crime. And the punishment for that crime is 7 years. So be very careful, do not do it. It might lead you to trouble. You'll trouble the girl, first of all, mentally. And if she reports, you're going to go to jail and you're going to get punished. So be very careful. And all the girls, please do not ignore, please report. If you ever feel it, don't ignore it. Next is Facebook stalking. There are one or two more things, then I will finish. Facebook stalking, I would like to, social media is very dangerous. Also, like I told you, the difference you don't know, you can become an offender. But Facebook and otherwise also, and these kind of social media platforms are a big source of crime also. It's very nice to use them, good fun to connect, right? Good, many good things, but many bad things also. So you please protect yourself from the bad and accept the good and prevent the bad. That should be a motto. I will explain this case to you. You will understand what I mean and how easy it is to commit crime on social media because people are not thinking and people are not being careful and not doing anything about it. That's why I always say that you should always have a only those people you know very well you should accept friend requests from. Don't get into contest of who has more friends. Keep your group of friends small. These are all security advices. See, I hope you have a pen and paper. You should write these down actually. But anyway, even if you don't, please try to remember them. See, there is a crime called phishing in the cyber world. It's the worst crime. Most of the many crimes are based on this phishing attack, right? Financial crimes, definitely, to take money from you, from your banks. You're all young people. I don't believe you should have so many cards and accounts. So I'm not talking about financial crime with you. But phishing is the base of many other crimes, like bullying, like stalking, like human trafficking, like child pornography, like that I told you, pedophilia, grooming. What is the base? Phishing. The first phishing is what? Trying to trap you, trying to entice you to do something wrong, right? So phishing is very common. It's a very dangerous crime, base of many cyber crime. If you have to save yourself from phishing, there is one advice I'll give you. Please follow it. And as I told you, you have to follow it every time, not sometime. That advice is, in the virtual world, you should have no contact with the unknown source. If the source is unknown, have no contact, and no contact every time, not sometimes. What do I mean? If you get a friend request from an unknown source, don't accept it. If you get a call from an unknown source, don't start talking and keeping giving all type of information. Don't pick it up. First of all, even if you pick it up and it's unknown and somebody's talking some, don't give information, don't talk, disconnect. Third, if you get an email from an unknown source, don't press download of any attachment. Fourth, if you get an SMS from any unknown source, don't press any link. So this is a basic, if you do this in the virtual world, unknown source, no contact, means no contact. And no contact means every time no contact, not sometimes. Then I'm sure you'll be safe from a number of cyber crimes which occur. And second stage, of course, is there is verification. You know, there is a thing called spoofing. Spoofing is what? Being something, showing something. I can send you an email from my ID, I can show some other ID. I can give you a phone call from my phone and show some other phone. Spoofing. Email spoofing, call spoofing, SMS spoofing, profile spoofing, everything is possible. So even if it looks genuine, it may not be genuine. I told you it's virtual. So first is, if it is unknown, there should be no contact. If it is known, still you should verify. Please do not follow your by keeping your eyes closed. Suppose you get a friend request from my profile. You don't know me, so reject it. But suppose you know me, then try to phone me. Means you must have some other way to contact me other than Facebook. Phone me and ask me, have you sent me a friend request? I will say yes, suppose. Then you can decide what to do, accept or reject. If I say no, then what is it? Reject. So this is what I'm saying. In the virtual world, no contact with the unknown. First principle, no contact means every time no contact. And second is verification, verify, even if it looks correct. So please follow this. Anyway, I'll tell you a case which will make it very clear to you. This case is from Australia. Australia city of Sydney, the biggest city in Australia. This case happened 3 years back. Now, in that case, you can see this boy's photograph at the bottom. Christopher, his name is 25-year-old man. If you see his photography, does he look a criminal and crook? No, he doesn't. He looks like a normal person who must be looking in Australia. Okay, no, but he was not normal. He was a crook. He had just been released from prison for kidnapping a 19-year-old girl. He had come out on bail. But that was his job, you know, that was his problem. He wanted to do the same thing again. But this time he decided that he will not do it in the real world, he'll do it in virtual world. Real world, it is so difficult to go to some girl, try to convince her, try to take confidence to her, try to put her in your web and then do some crime. So he thought that's very difficult. Let me do it on virtual world, much easier. Phishing, I can do it with so many together. And then wait, somebody will get trapped, see. And they trapped, somebody did. See what he did. So simple it is for this crime. You, me, anybody can become victim if we are not careful. What do? We share all type of content. I told you, we don't even think. See, there are settings, okay? There is setting in Facebook, setting in Gmail, setting in WhatsApp, setting in your device. Everything has settings. Why are those settings there? Those settings are there for one, for improving your experience of using that device or service, okay? The second is for security. We don't even bother to see the settings. So people keep posting anything online in Facebook and all, they don't even have any control over the settings. Who is seeing where the content is going, they're not bothered. They keep posting. So what? Nothing can happen. What will happen? Because no danger to be seen, but there is danger, no? So what this person did, he started reviewing the content of all 19 and 20-year-old girls in Sydney, the public content, which the girls sharing everything. So he started reviewing that. In that content, he found the content of this girl called Nona, whose photograph is also there. She was another 19-year-old girl. And she had a very big speciality. What was it? It was she was an animal lover, pet lover. And where do we express all our greatnesses, all our likes, all our dislikes, and all that? Online, in Facebook, and other services like that. Social media, she had done the same thing. Now he came to know that she was a very big animal lover. Okay, by what? By information she gave herself. I told you before, information security. Now what this fellow did, so simple. He made a fake profile in the name of some Gordon Green, and he found out in Sydney who is the biggest animal NGO, animal welfare NGO, biggest, because he knew she will be knowing the name because she was such a big animal lover. Now he made a profile anybody can make in the name of that NGO and showed himself as to be the HR manager of that NGO. and he sent a friend request to her. Now, what is she going to do? She's such a big animal lover, and she gets a friend request from a person who works in the biggest NGO for animal welfare. What is she going to do? She will be very happy, I'm sure. She said yes, they became friends. Okay. Now she didn't even see the danger. Now, these people are criminals. They will not do anything immediately. First, he kept chatting with her very nicely, no, nothing. 6 months. When she came, now he realized now she's in my control. Then he took the next step. What did he do? He offered her a job. He wrote to her one day that this is a job in my organization. This is the pay. This is the what you have to do. Do you want to join? Now, what is he going to do? What do you think she's going to say? Working in the NGO, biggest NGO for animal welfare, prestigious. She's going to, what is she going to do? What she loves to do anyway, animal welfare. And what she's going to get money for it also. And who's offering the job? Her best friend. Now, 6 months, virtual friend, but very good friend. She had full trust in him. So she said yes. She must have been so happy she mustn't have slept the whole night. He said, okay, I'll come tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up. We'll go to the office. I'll take a formal interview and you'll get your job. He came the next morning. She went with him. He took her out of Sydney. He raped her. He buried her and came back because that was his job. No? And after 1.5 months, they found the body of Nona. Digital footprints, I told you, can go nowhere. The police reached Christopher. He was arrested. And in December 2018, he was sentenced to 21 years of jail for the rape, murder, abduction of Nona. They say that in Australian history, harshest punishment for a criminal, because in Australia, they don't have capital punishment. So they said this is the worst punishment for anybody we have ever given. Because tell me, can Nona come back? No. Tell me, who could have saved her? Nobody. She could have only saved herself. I told you, a crime between you and your device. Who knows what you're doing on this device? And then after that, what are you doing after that? Following up. Nobody could have saved her except she herself. If she was aware, if she was alert, she would have not died. This is for sure. So please start thinking and doing from today. Fake profile, I've talked before. Don't post your phone number. I always say in the social networking sphere, don't post phone numbers, don't post addresses, don't give status update with time and place reference together. Privacy setting, friends only is the best. So many security measures. See, I'm telling you, you should note it and remember them at least. If you don't see, this is the case in Hindi, it's written, but I'll tell you in English what happened. This is the case of, again, my city, Indore. See, I stay here, so I have got content from here. This must be happening all over India and in your state also, and your city, Chennai also. So this girl was there. You can see a photograph. Her name was Kiran. She was a 17-year-old girl, very good student appearing for IIT, preparing for IIT. Very nice student, but she did one mistake after the other and see what she had to face. Now, this girl got a friend request from another 16-year-old girl who she did not know. And she said, yes, first mistake, friendship with unknown, which I told you before. First mistake. Now what happened? After a few months, that person said to her that I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. His name was Amit. It is written below. He was a 22-year-old boy from a neighboring city of Indore. He was also no criminal. He was a railway officer's son, a graduate engineer looking for a job. So he was from a good family, educated boy. He was not a criminal. But after he told her that I have told you a lie and made friends with you, still she kept talking to him. Reckless behavior. Second mistake. Now what happened? Her IIT exam came, JEE. Now she didn't have time because she was a very good student. So she stopped talking to him. He must have pestered her. She blocked him. He blocked him, but she had already made a third mistake, which was fatal. What was it? She had already posted her phone number, address, everything on a social networking profile. He knew it. One day he came to her house. He knocked the door. The mother opened. He stabbed the mother 5 times. Then he get into the room. There he met the girl. He had some fight with the girl. He stabbed her 22 times. 22. And then he jumped off from the second floor and broke his leg. And he was caught on the scene of crime. But even if he was not caught on the scene of crime, he would have been caught later. Digital footprints. Now what happened? After 2 months, he got a friend request from another 16-year-old girl. Who would guess? Okay. So this is a danger. Selfie-itis, this is the problem. Don't take too many selfies, please. It is leading to death of people. It is also a disorder. According to WHO, selfie-itis is a disease. So just keep it for your memory. Take few selfies and post even fewer, because it can lead you to trouble. Every selfie does not have to be posted. It is for your own memory, own record, not for posting every selfie. Take it less and post even less. Photograph stalking, this is the last thing I'll talk about, then I will finish. I talked to you before about photograph, how you can be followed by a photograph if you're not careful. I will tell you how. See, what is this called? This is called a smartphone. Why is it called a smartphone? Not because today everything is, there is a tradition, there is a fad of calling everything smart. Smart city, smart bus, smart toothpaste, smart toilet, smart TV, smart fridge, everything is smart except human beings. We are the most dumb people in the world now. Huh? Everything is smart. No, it's not because of that. This is the original device which was called smart. Why? Features, and you're using that device, then one day that device is going to become smarter than you. Then the device is going to use you. You are not going to use the device. Okay, why is it? One of the features in this smartphone which makes it smart, that feature is called GPS. You must have heard about it. Global Positioning System. How does it, that means your exact location. How does that GPS pick up? From your latitude, longitude. It picks up the latitude, longitude from where you are, fixes your exact location, GPS. So when you buy a smartphone from the market, a new one, and you put it on, by default, the GPS comes on. You don't have to press any button, it is enabled. So a device, a smartphone has a GPS, a feature. If you don't know, very bad. Now with such a device, when you take a photograph, in which GPS is enabled, your latitude and longitude gets tagged with the photograph. That's called geo-tagging. That is another feature. Again, if you don't know it, you're making a mistake. So you must know the features of the devices you're using. If you don't know, problem, know better. So there was a case, I'll tell you how it works. It's very simple. There's a case in United Kingdom, London. There was one girl. She won a lottery. Actually, she won some money, pounds. She got the notes home. She put it on a table, and she made her grandmother sit with her, and she took a selfie and posted it online. See how happy I am. I have won so much money. I've become rich. Status update every time thing we must put online. Okay. Now these people are called online predators. What is a predator? Predator is a hunter, actually. So they are called online predators. They are roaming about in cyberspace, only looking for such content which is of their benefit. And when they find it, then they do something about it. So this girl posted such a photograph. They found it, this predator. So what will they do? So easy it is now. Now they download that photograph. Okay. If it is taken from a smartphone, so properties. And inside the properties, they will find the latitude, longitude, because there is geotagging. Now they have found the latitude, longitude from where the photo was taken. Now what do they have to do? They copy the latitude, longitude, and they paste it in Google Maps. Google Maps also works on latitude, longitude. So when they pasted that longitude, latitude, longitude on Google Maps, they can find the exact address. So they found the exact address in London where this girl lived, and they attacked her house. They killed her grandmother, they killed her, and they took all her money. So I want to say one thing. Who gave the invitation? Invitation was given by the girl herself without thinking. Okay, I have so much money. I am a young girl. I have an old grandmother with me. I'm alone. Come, take the money. They came, they took the money, and in the process, they murdered her also and her grandmother. So you have to be very careful when you're doing these things. This is a case, similar case of Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is an American reality star. You know her, maybe. Now, this woman, with her mother and her sister, they went to Paris for a holiday. They took a lot of jewelry, a lot of money. They went and lived in a very big apartment. And in that apartment, they put on all the jewelry and all that. And they took a lot of photographs with all the jewelry in that big apartment. And they put all the photographs on Instagram, saying, what a life. See, we are the people who enjoy. What are you? You have nothing. Something like that. You know? And now, invitation given, online predators found it. They accepted the invitation. They came one afternoon into the house. Kim Kardashian was not there. Her mother and her sister were there. They beat them up. They tied them up. They took all their money and the jewelry. But again, who gave the invitation? So I have to be very careful. Know your features of a device and then use them. Otherwise, you are heading for trouble, sir. So I will tell you this. First of all, selfies should be taken as few as possible. They can be, they can threaten your life. You know, people die taking selfies. Selfies less as possible. Posting them even less because they are for your record and memory. Don't post everything. And third, even if you're posting selfies from these kind of devices, please check the settings. Turn off the location like this. This is the iPhone. Now in iPhone, there is a thing called setting. Go to settings. When you access settings, there will be one thing called privacy settings. Go into privacy settings. You will find location services. Open that section. You will find camera. Switch off the camera location service. So next time when you take a photograph, your latitude, longitude will not be tagged with that photo. So that is what I'm trying to say. It is that you have to take less selfies and disable geotagging, then you'll be safe from this crime. Okay, now I'll finish. Morphing is possible. You know what morphing is. Challenges and dares. This is the last thing. See, challenges and dares are many. Blue whale challenge, you've heard about it. Children followed it, 50th day they died. Suicide. So I believe that challenges and dares are online just for, they're just nonsense. Your real challenge, your real dare is to make something good in your life. Accept that challenge, accept that dare. Work hard, study hard, play hard. Whatever you're good at, do it very well and succeed. That is the real challenge in life. That is the real dare. These online challenges and dares lead to disaster. Do not accept them. Okay. I will give you the last 5 key points. You might have heard what I said. You might have remembered what I said. I love if you remember what I said. But even if you don't, please remember these 5 last points I'm giving you. Mantra for cyber security. Consider it that. Let us talk that, and then I'll finish. First is always have a mindset of safety and security. It is a different world. It is full of challenges, dangers. I've told hundreds of times the challenges and dangers. Change your mindset and make a mindset of security. Then you will be thinking of security. You will be doing something. Okay. So change your mindset and have a mindset of security in the cyber world also. Second, avoid shortcuts, avoid greed. Most of the cyber crime in the cyberspace occurring, financial crime, are based on the human tendency of greed. You make a sit at home, you get a job. Sit at home, you get a lottery. Sitting at home, you get a relation. It doesn't happen. Make it a motto that I will work for whatever I have to get in life. I will not fall for this kind of greed. Then you will be safe. Do it. Avoid shortcuts. Shortcuts may not lead you to the right direction, friends. You might end up in the wrong place. So follow the long path. Like suppose you get a link. They may sometimes make you press the link and go to a fake site. Why do you have to always press links? Shortcuts. Technology has given you a lot of comfort and empowerment, correct? But technology has also given comfort and empowerment and improvement for the work of cyber criminals, because you cannot deny access of technology to anyone. So their life, their work has also become easy and empowered. Remember that. So they will offer you many things. You have to be smart. Suppose there is a shortcut, there is a link you have to press and go to. You're a customer of State Bank of India, and they send some email to scare you or to trap you, phishing, and they say you press this link and go and do this in your site, and you press that link. You will go to a fake site maybe, and you will put all your information there, and they'll get it. Why do you have to follow shortcut? Every time you just open a new tab, type with your own hands www.sbionline.com and enter. Press enter. You will reach the actual SBI site, not a fake site. Shortcut. Why do you have to follow it? Every time you log out of your Facebook, of your Gmail, of whatever, why don't you log out fully? And next time when you come, enter the password with your own fingers and then log in. Why do you have to keep yourself signed in and automatically sign in? Why do you have to check that box? Why? Shortcut. Don't do it. These shortcuts will lead you to wrong direction. So avoid shortcuts, avoid greed. Third is think before you act. Whatever you do online, what you're posting, what you're liking, what you're sharing, what you're forwarding, just think. Think for 5 seconds. Give yourself 5 seconds, 3 seconds. I'm sure you will not make a mistake. But if you do everything in a hurry, then things done in a hurry generally may be wrong. Decisions taken with time, with thought, generally are right. So give yourself some time, think, and then act. You will be doing the right thing probably. Fourth is have full knowledge. This is the age of information. Information is the biggest power. I've told you, keep information. Security also needs information. Keep information, then use it, and use it every time. That's the motto you should follow. Last is in cyberspace, do not trust anything blindly, everything. Because you are basically interacting with a screen. There is nothing in front of you. There is no person, there is no place, there is no situation. It is only a screen. So on this screen, you can be shown anything, you can be made to hear anything, everything cannot be the truth. Please keep it in mind and then behave in the cyber world. This is my Facebook page. I've got many pages. I work in wildlife security. I work in narcotics and so many fields. Cyber training also I do. This is cyber awareness page, www.facebook.com/Black Ribbon Initiative. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of publications, and I've told you a lot of column writing. I put it on this page. Please come to this page. Very few pages are there. I told you information is power. This is the security, cyber security information. Very few pages are like that available. Come to this page, like that page, and if your updates are on, then next time I post something on this page, you will get it in your feed. If you have time, read it. If you don't have time, read it next time. But must come on this page. My phone number, this is my WhatsApp number, and that is my email ID. If you want, you can contact me. People from all over India contact me, from Jharkhand, from Bihar. I get calls from everywhere and emails who want some guidance in some cybercrime which may have occurred, in some situation which they are facing. If I have any advice, I will give it to you. So you can contact me. This is all what I have to say, Ganesh. Please, if you can take over, if there are any questions, I can answer them, then we will finish the session. Thank you so much for being so kind and listening. And I hope what I have said is of use to you and you will implement it immediately and from today. Thank you so much. Rumba Nandri.
Thank you very much, sir. It was quite a informative and very mind-provoking, thought-provoking speech, sir. We enjoyed. Probably
Thank you.
so good to students as well. And anyone, if you have any questions, please you can raise.
Sir, this is Rahul speaking.
Yeah. Yes, please, Rahul. Continue.
Sir, myself Rahul, and I'm an assistant commander in CISM. Sir, what I'm seeing nowadays, sir, like, within the force, there are people posting photos with weapons, and they are sharing their locations where they are posted. Among Javans, I'm talking about, sir. How can I convince them? I mean, I felt that it is problematic one, sharing their location, even in sensitive areas like LWE areas. So how can I tell them that please don't share your locations, don't post photos with weapons? Please let me know some points, sir. Like,
yeah, I got your question. It is a problem. See, again, my whole talk was based on this, Rahul, that secure behavior of an individual. That's what leads to cybersecurity. Nobody can. So I would recommend that you talk to your Jawans, you scare them. That if you do this, first is departmental action that can follow if found that they are. Secondly, it is that if you're doing this, you're harming yourself. If you're giving up your location,
yes, sir, yes.
if you're showing yourself in uniform, then you are open to cyber attack, because I told you information is based on cyber. Make them aware and to prevent this kind of activity on their own side. Second, you must monitor. You can put some, if they agree, see, this is all question of ethics. There's a lot of software, invasive software in their devices, and you can see what they're posting and all that, and you can prove it also later. But that is a question of ethics and question of law, so I will not recommend that.
Okay.
I would rather recommend this, that you should be talk to them, tell them to call people like me. Call me. I will come wherever your whole battalion is, headquarters, wherever your I will talk to them. I will tell them how dangerous it is for them themselves, not for the system,
Yes, sir.
but for themselves. I think that is the best way.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. So this is Vinita, and I'm actually a UPSC aspirant only. And your session was really beneficial for us, I feel so, and we'll be applying it in our day-to-day life. Sir, I have one doubt. Just because of this pandemic, we all are locked up in our home, and we do a lot of online shopping. So sometimes what happens, suppose is if there is a website, we are entering in that, and suppose we are online, we are doing some shopping. There they send us a link for the payment option. So while making that payment option, they ask for the card details and everything. In that OTP, something what we receive, and we believe that once we are receiving the OTP means we are secure. So I want to know, sir, whether this thing is fine for us to give our card details and all while doing the online shopping.
First, thank you for your question, but I can only say this, In the virtual world, there are many dangers and pitfalls. You must first verify that shopping site which you are doing your shopping on. Please search it on Google. Please do something. Find out its number. Phone their offices. Do something when you verified that that site is safe. That site is not itself fake and a hoax. Then you can, I'm sure, do the shopping.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So I may be able to clear on this.
What?
So, you have to check for the HTTPS, sir. If there's a end at the end, if there's an S at the end of HTTP, no, sir, then it means that the website is secure and it's up.
The internet service provider. So it is HTTPS is not for shopping sites, is basically for commercial financial sites like banking sites, like stockbroking sites, like insurance sites. It's not for shopping sites. But yes, it is also there in shopping site. You can do that. But I would still recommend you should verify the credentials of that site online. Credentials are there. You can find it on Google. You can find it. Make a phone call. Why not? They must be having some contact detail. Can't you make this much effort? You must. See, when you go out of your house, you lock it, no? You make some effort. When you come back, you unlock it. You have to do something extra to keep yourself secure. You just keep that in mind. Don't believe what you see. If you see a shopping site, HTTPS and all very good. And then virtual keypads, and there's so many things. But verification in the real world is also an option. Once you followed it, you found it to be genuine, you found that it is not a problematic site, then I think you can use the services without any issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So there is a question from one of our students. He's asking that when it comes to India, since there is very low digital literacy, what are the government measures that have been taken towards promoting the digital literacy? And if you can suggest some of the readings or websites, it would be helpful.
Look, that you can find yourself. There is no problem. Just search on Google. You'll find all the kind of literacy, and the information is all there. So I don't have to spell it out for you. But I believe in I have meetings with CBSE and AICT, and all. I'm a member of many committees. I always have education should be made part of the curriculum in India, which is not being done. And the seeds are planted at a very young age, you know it. And once the seeds are planted at a young age, they bear fruit. And if you leave it for too late, it is a problem. So I still believe this, that maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, something like that, optional kind of subject, cyber security should be planted in the minds of children. That's cyber education. That is not cyber awareness. Awareness is for people who are grown up, have no other, just for one session like this, you get some awareness. Education is must. Should be done. It will be done, I'm sure. When it will be done, I'm not privy to that, but it should be done, and it may be being considered, and it will be implemented sooner than later. See, I'll give you the example of US. US is a country which uses internet a lot. There is a direct link between the usage of internet and the cybercrime. There is. So the countries which use internet a lot, more cybercrime occurs there. So India is the third largest user of internet, and fourth largest cybercrime occur in India. But America, US, is number one in the usage of internet, but they're not even in the top 20 in cybercrime. Why? It is also because they have good systems and all. That must be true. There's no doubt. But from fifth onwards, they teach their children cyber security, net etiquettes, net behavior, and you can see it. It's direct result of that is this also. So it should be done in our country. When it will be done, I do not know. But as soon as possible, that would be what I want.
Thank you, sir. And may I request Mr. Kribanati to propose a vote of thanks to sir. Kriba, please unmute yourself and propose a vote of thanks to sir.
Yes, sir, sure. Good evening, Doctor. Hello. Is it audible?
Yeah, we are hearing you. Yes, Kriba, we are hearing you. Please.
Good evening, Dr. Varun. It was a very insightful session. Actually, to be frank, it was initially it was a scary session initially, but later at the end, I think it made everyone prudent to be in the online. Actually, every people have some self-interest. Actually, that which concerns the self-interest of all people becomes a common cause, right? So for that, people like you are doing your job, and thanks very much for sharing those experiences. As you said in the book Future Shock, and there is also a book, I think, in 1984 by George Orwell, actually deals with mostly about surveillance and the age where surveillance and data is very important. So in that, one of the main quote I find is, I understand how, but I don't understand why. The question why is the main thing I want to quote here. Your session actually dealt with the keyword why we should use the online safely, why we should understand the usage of cyberspace, and why we should understand what are the different kinds of crime that is happening in the online space. So it was really a good session for us, and hopefully everyone feels so. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time. And thank you very much. And thank you everyone who participated for your time. And thank you very much, sir, again. And I thank Marina Madam for helping us to arrange this, to get connected with sir. And thank you very much, sir.
Good night. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.